Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the Real Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shay Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the Real Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the Real Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly. Welcome to another episode of Real Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote, and today's quote is, "Never take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with." So today I have Stevie Devey. She is a dedicated Southern California native with a passion for real estate and helping others. With a decade of sales experience and 3 successful years as a realtor, Stevie finds immense joy in bringing smiles to her clients' faces by helping them find their dream homes. As a proud member of the Caring Realtor team at Keller Williams, she is committed to providing a personalized and caring real estate experience. Balancing her career with being a devoted mom of 3, Stevie's love for people and her community shines through in every interaction. Whether you're buying or selling, Stevie is here to guide you through the process with expertise, compassion, and a genuine desire to meet your unique needs. So Stevie, thank you so much for being here. And I apologize for the time challenges we've experienced before.
Oh, no worries. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about, so you said that you have over a decade experience in sales. Mm-hmm. What did that look like prior to being an agent?
So I worked for Harley Davidson for a really long time.
Do you drive motorcycles?
I do. Yeah. My family has ridden motorcycles too my whole life. So we've been around motorcycles for a long time. So pay attention to motorcycles on the road, you guys, because it's dangerous. We actually got rid of our first motorcycle when we got pregnant with our daughter. So we haven't had one, and we're thinking we'll revisit that when the kids are a little bit older. But then I also did personal training for a long period of time, so I worked in sales for personal training as well.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And then what made you shift into, because you've only been doing it for, I shouldn't say only, but you've been doing it for 3 years, but you have 3 kids. So obviously you had kids before you got into real estate. So
right.
What did that look like for you to make that decision, and how did you have to adjust it all?
So it was definitely, I definitely had a resistance. My husband is, he comes from a very traditional family. Mom stays home, dad does the work, like hand washes the laundry on. I'm just kidding. But very traditional. And that's just how he was raised and how he expected things to be done. I came from a family where my dad was like, you are going to work your butt off and you're never going to rely on anybody to take care of you ever. So little conflict. I had always been pulled to real estate. It was always something that I really wanted to do. And my husband was just like, you need to be here. You need to take care of our kids. They need you, you're going to blink and they're going to be grown. And so there was that feeling of mom guilt for sure that kind of stopped me from moving and fully like embracing the real estate process. But I had this moment where I was just on my knees praying. I had felt completely defeated with something completely unrelated. And I was just calling out, God, please help me think of how I fix this situation. And I kept hearing God say, focus on real estate, and I'm like, that's not the answer that I'm asking. I need you to fix this. But I put my faith in it and I dove into it, and it was amazing. It's been great for me, and it solved this thing that I was praying about over here. So that's how we did it.
One of my favorite quotes is, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards. Even though you didn't know real estate was necessarily the answer, it ended up being able to be the solution to fix the other problem that you had going. So now you made the decision to obviously jump into real estate. Then how did that affect your relationship? Because I think what a lot of people think is that, okay, even when somebody is successful, or when a woman is successful in real estate, her relationship must be great. But I know that with our relationship, we definitely had our challenges, because we went from my husband, I still had a job elsewhere, but I was still the one dropping the kids off. I was still the one picking the kids up, making the meals, being home a lot more than I am now. So we faced a lot of challenges with that role, that it obviously definitely shifted. But how did that affect your relationship when you decided, no, I'm doing this for me? Because what we need to realize as moms is that we have that mom guilt, but we also need to take care of ourselves, because if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of others.
Right. Well, and I think we're living in a world too now where it's damn near impossible to live off of one income. So
I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard. So I think for us, it actually really helped our relationship, because I think even though my husband was stuck in his ways and his ideas of how things needed to be, so I think that it helped my husband to gain a newfound respect for me, because up until that point, I was just the cleaner of the clothes and the maker of the dinners and the changer of the diapers. So I think when he saw that I put my mind to something and I didn't just do it, I did it well. And I was bringing home a significant amount of money for our family, and it was benefiting all of us. It was a benefit to our whole family rather than just to me. It changed the way you looked at me, I think.
I think so too. And I think that us women, we lose our sense of identity when we are focused solely on the kids, because when you're focusing on the kids, that is your main focus. Well, then you lose your sense of identity, because you don't have anything that you're doing for yourself. So obviously when you can do that for yourself, the confidence comes out. And then that's probably, I would think that's going to be more attractive to most men. Some are a little intimidated by it, and it can be intimidating, but it's still adjusting. So has he had to kind of fill in and step in with some of the household chores and things like that?
Oh, yeah, he's definitely had to fill in. And I think, that's something that still I have to remind him, hey, I'm working, so I need you to maybe help clean up after dinner. Or, if you don't have any underwear in your drawer, it would help to just maybe throw a load of laundry in, I think laundry is my least favorite task. So it's the last thing I get to. And I'm like, it's really not that hard. Just throw it in there, So he does. He's had to pick up, and he's getting better. He's getting a lot better at it.
It's so funny, because the first 3 years, it was year 3 that we moved into the house that we live in now. And I asked my husband, I was like, hey, can you throw in a load of laundry? And he goes over there and he's like, how do I start this?
Yeah.
I'm like, holy moly, just a second. I said, we've lived here for 3 years and you're asking me how to start it. I said, that means you've never done laundry. He's like, well, I have. And I'm like, no, you haven't. But literally, laundry is my least favorite thing. I can wash and I can dry, but it's putting it away. That's my challenge.
That's my husband's help actually, is putting it in the washer, putting it in the dryer, and then clumping it up in a nice big ball and throwing it on the counter so that it has to all be redone again.
So he's really good at that part of it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That is too funny. So, okay, now what I wanted to ask too, though, is, okay, so you have a little boy. Well, you have 3 kids, obviously, but over the last 4 years, you had made the comment earlier that he's been kind of your little sidekick. So how have you handled and managed bringing your little 4-year-old, because they don't always behave, especially between the ages of 2 and 4. What did that look like, and how did you navigate all of that without having daycare?
I mostly just lock him in a closet. I'm just kidding. No, I have found actually that bringing my children with me to these types of things and in checking their behavior. Hey, I need you to be this way, and you'll get rewarded at the end if, and I may bribe a little bit, but my kids are well behaved. And honestly, he's been such a joy to have around. I'm going to be really sad when he goes to school this year. And so I mean, my little one, he has this little badge that he wears, and it says showing assistant on it. And he it has a little thing that comes out. And so he can show people I'm the showing assistant.
Oh my God.
But I think that was one of my big fears too, is going into the real estate business and going I'm not going to leave my kid, one, because my husband will never forgive me. I'm not going to go leave him with somebody else to raise. I have to have him with me. I have to raise him. I have to be able to do this and do what my husband is asking of me at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a fear going into this business. Like, what if people don't accept my kid being here? And so I was like, I was determined. You guys are going to behave. You're going to be here. You're going to be a part of this experience. And it's been the best thing that I could do for them. I think for helping them as well as showing my clients that I'm a real person and this is why I do this job.
Yes. Well, and then I also think that it kind of weeds out the people that like, cause I've never had anybody tell me no, no, I don't want your kids to come with, because I always like prepare them. Hey, I'm going to have my kids. I'm going to have 3 of them. I'm going to have 2 of them, maybe just the 1. But my kids are very similar to yours. They know how to behave. They've learned how to talk and interact with other adults. But also, I think it also kind of weeds out the individuals that maybe are not the right clientele for you. Because if somebody told me no, I'd be like, can't meet with you then. Like,
yeah.
So I think it also helps in that aspect too, because if somebody, I don't know, kids and families are just kind of my thing. And if you don't welcome my family, then you're not really welcoming me. Like literally yesterday, I had a listing appointment and they said, hey, can this time work? I said, I can either do this time or this time. If we go at this time, I will have all 3 of my kids. And they said, nope, that's not a problem. We'll actually have our daughter at that time. Ironically, we get there and their little daughter is just freaking out because she goes to daycare with my youngest. So she was so excited. I didn't realize that until we got there. Yeah. And so they were super excited. They obviously went and played. So it worked out really well. But yeah, I'm similar to you. I mean, I have daycare. I do send my kids to daycare because that's just what works between my husband and I. Love my kids dearly, but a lot of time together, when so. So when do your kids start school then?
So August 14th, they go back in 7 days.
Yeah. Yes. And your youngest is going to preschool or kindergarten?
He's going to kindergarten. I somehow got him into the kindergarten seat. I just talked to because he turns 5 in September, at the very beginning of September. And so I was like, he's right there. Don't let him be like the oldest person in his class later. So they let him have a seat in kindergarten this year. And I lucked out.
Wow.
But
oh yeah. So my youngest has a birthday in September and she'll be 5. It's September 12th. So it's her birthday. So
they're right next to each other.
I know. Yeah. So tell me, did you grow up in California then? Are you from there?
I did. Born and raised. Yep.
Okay. And your husband as well?
Yes. Different parts, but yes.
Yeah. And now where do you see your future going in business? And then do you plan to continue to incorporate your kids into your lifestyle? What does that look like for the future for you?
100% will always include my kids if I can. I would like in the future and my daughter she's 11. And so she's got her little spunky personality and she's already sure she's going to do real estate with mom. And so I'm hoping that sticks. Right now, it's like, you never know. Both my boys want to be cops like dad. So I'm trying to just pull everybody in this direction. I would love to have it be a family thing at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, everybody does things a little bit differently. Do you set up your business and you pay your kids at all as like a tax expense? Like, have you ever heard of that? Do you do that?
I haven't done it. I have heard of it and I've looked into it a little bit. I know there's a couple different programs that you can use and so I'm kind of researching it. I definitely would like to start doing that because it's a huge tax write-off.
Yes.
So it's a great idea.
Yeah. So I was talking to a financial planner last week and I've gotten mixed conversations with people. Like my CPA, I file as an S corp. So my CPA tells me that if I'm going to pay my kids, I have to basically put them on payroll. And because they're so young, that may not make sense because then you have to pay payroll taxes and you have to pay filing and all of that stuff. Well, I was talking to a financial advisor last week and he's like, no, that's not the case. You should be able to still pay your kids without any sort of filing fees, payroll taxes. You pay them. There's no income to them and it's 100% write-off for you. And you can pay up to, I think, $13,000 per kid, but it has to be within reason. Like you're not going to pay $13,000 for your 4-year-old, but like your 11-year-old, maybe not 13,000, but it might help, $6,000 to $8,000. And then what a lot of people do is obviously you have to pay that directly to your kid. And then you can use those funds to kind of pay for their living expenses and their activities. So it's a huge win. And I got to just get clarification. I have gone back and forth 100 different times. So I'm just trying to figure out what other people do, how they file, if it does affect them, how they pay their kids, things like that. Because that's a huge.
You're going to have to let me know if you end up going that route.
Well, do you have an entity and do you file as an S Corp or anything like that?
So I was told I need to file as an S Corp. I haven't done it yet. But the way that my husband's finances work, up until now, it's just made sense. His taxes kind of right. They kind of just, they only owe a little bit at the end of the year. So, but that's, my tax lady did tell me this year I'm definitely going to have to go S Corp. So I haven't dealt with that yet.
Yeah. And the nice thing about S Corp, what you save on, and I may not get this exactly right, but basically the amount that you pay yourself, that is what you pay on Social Security tax. So it's not the entire amount that you bring in. You only pay Social Security tax on what you pay yourself. So obviously you still have taxes on all of the other amounts,
Right.
but the Social Security tax is where you save because you're only paying the Social Security tax on your salary, not on the entire amount of income. So it definitely saves. And then there's that fine line of where you should file as an S Corp and when you shouldn't, because you still do have extra filing fees that go into it every year. But I would definitely say that one of my biggest challenges as an entrepreneur is learning and understanding the taxes and the tax loopholes and the hurdles and all of those things.
Right.
So many people don't pay attention to that because it's too much and I don't like it. But I think if you can get a basic understanding of how it goes, because it's funny when we go to our CPA, we're sitting down, my husband and I, because I handle mainly our taxes, our CPA will be talking and I'm like looking at my husband, he's just, and I'm like, did you understand that? Like, and then I'm the one who asks questions. Like, you have to break it down Barney style for me because I need to understand it on a whole nother level.
Right.
And I'll be like, Adam, did you understand anything he was saying? He's like, no. I'm like, don't agree then. Like, you got to ask questions. My goodness. But it's interesting. There's a lot of tax incentives, especially when it comes to being a real estate professional. That, I mean, I know, like you said, like his income kind of offsets your income or his paying into taxes. But if you could do like an S Corp, you might pay in even less or get money back. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
So
that's what ours was saying this year. But I honestly was so flooded with, I'm going to say blessed. I was blessed with a lot of business at the end of last year. And I was just like, that last thing I want to look at is these taxes. I don't have the time or energy to deal with that. So yeah, I left that one to the pros.
But yeah, no, filing as an S Corp, it can definitely save you a lot of money. So that's definitely something I would definitely recommend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how has this year been for you? And for me, in all reality, I feel like it's definitely a little bit slower than last year. Not a ton, but just a little bit. But I think the election year affects that quite a bit.
It does. For me, I'm on track to double this year what I did last year. But I also have a lot more referral business this year from the previous years. And it's not so much, I'm definitely working more listing sides. I'm not getting as many buyers. And I do feel like there's a lot of buyers that are sitting on the fence because of the election year, which, I mean, the rates are going to do what they're going to do regardless of who gets elected, to be perfectly honest. But there are sitting ducks as far as the buyers are concerned. But I do feel like we're getting there. We're starting to see a little bit of a movement, at least, like, especially towards this time of the season when it starts to normally tip off and kind of slow down. I feel like we're starting to rear up a little bit. Interest rates are starting to slowly drop a little bit and people are like, oh, no. So it's going to kind of mess up the tradition of how things go, I feel like. Yeah. And we'll see more heavier towards the end of the year.
And we've seen kind of the difference. Like, we've seen a big slowdown here recently, but I do think that it'll pick up because August is usually slows down from looking back from my experience, because people are getting ready for school. People are going shopping. People are trying to get in those last day weekend activities with their kids. So usually August for us anyway is a little bit of a slowdown. And then I would say more September, October, it kind of picks back up. But with the election year, we'll see what happens. Because like you said, I mean, there's not going to be a huge difference in interest rate based on who gets elected. There's not. But I think everybody just kind of sits back and holds tight because they don't know what's going to happen. So it's not just the interest rates. It's what are the expenses in every aspect of our lives what's going to happen with all of that? Because as you know, the cost of everything, it's not just a little bit of an interest rate here, it's the cost of taxes, the cost of insurance, the cost of food, the cost of gas. I mean, everything adds up. And like you said, like how people live off of one income anymore, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So so as we wrap up, I would like to ask you, what is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self, or maybe somebody else who's starting off in the business, and not necessarily real estate, but just in business in general?
I think I would tell myself and anybody else, think bigger. I feel like there is a lot of generational patterns that happen, and it's almost like our brains cap or max out at what the most successful person in our family, where they stopped, and I feel like that there's a boundary in our brains of, this is what my people can achieve. This is what my family does. And I think that resistance broke for me when I started to look outside of my family and go, but that person did it. Are they smarter than me? Are they stronger than me? Do they have more willpower than me, and why? So I think the best advice is to just think bigger and don't limit yourself to what somebody else tells you can do or what your family can do. Just, if I feel like you get further by being goal oriented and by setting that thing that you want, like, out there, and set it far out there and just say, I'm going to go get that. Like, think bigger.
So do you have that goal, that vision for yourself?
So my family, right when COVID happened, we actually bought 5 acres of land to start building. And it is my goal, by the time my children are 18, to have acquired 3 small properties, so that by the time that they're 18 and they're priced completely out of the market, they can have these houses at what we paid for them rather than what they're going to be 10, 15 years down the road. So that is my big time goal, is to just remember I'm working as hard as I am because of my family, because I love them and I want these things for them. So when we do end up building on our 5 acres, this house that we purchased right now will be one of those 3, and then we'll have 2 more to acquire. So that's my plan.
Well, kind of what you're saying is obviously kind of going back to your quote that you had provided, and it said, never take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with. So is that kind of what you're thinking of as well?
Yeah, it all plays into the same things. I feel like you got to set your own expectations of yourself and your own goals and work off of what you really want and what you want to see in your life, and not put a boundary on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Another quote that I love is, your only limitation is what you set in your own mind. Because like you said, I mean, we are only defined and limited to what we think we can accomplish. But in all reality, like you said, you can look at other people, study what they've done, where they came from, and know that anything is possible, and think bigger. The opportunities are limitless. They really are.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So that is awesome. But no, I love the quote that you provided today. Let's never take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with, because if you want to be a millionaire, the person who's also a millionaire is going to support your decisions and your choices and things like that. But if you go to somebody who's not a millionaire, they're going to think you're crazy and that you can't do that. And they're going to have their own opinions. So never take advice from someone who hasn't been where you're at.
Well, and there's always going to be an abundance of people and more people who don't think you can, or want to see you fail. And even if whether you know that or don't know that, there's going to be more people who think you can't than there's going to be the people that think you can. And it's because their limit is there for themselves.
Yes. And one thing that I almost love when people doubt me, because then it kind of fuels me and fires me a little bit. When my husband and I started renovating properties back in 2016, so that's how I got into real estate. We just started renovating properties, and nobody in our family has ever been in real estate. But I'll never forget, there was a friend of ours or an acquaintance that kind of mocked us. And he was like, oh, good luck with that. I'm sure you guys, just was very condescending and very rude. But honestly, I enjoyed it and I appreciated it, because I was like, that's fine. I don't care. Now, did our flipping business side of things take off? No, we've done a handful, but I don't love that, because the tax side of things is insane with it. But I love the fact that I'm looking back now and I'm like, okay, I'm a completely different person than what I was 6 years ago. And then seeing where that individual is at this point in time, still satisfying in all reality. I don't mean that in a terrible way, but in all reality, like I kind of like when people doubt me because I'll just prove you wrong. Like your opinion of me is not my problem. So I have these goals, I have these aspirations, and I know I'm going to achieve them. It's not fake it till you make it. It's faith it till you make it. You have to believe in yourself and that you will be able to accomplish the things that you want to.
Yep, 100%. That's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stevie, for being here. And I appreciate, and again, sorry for the delay with everything. So I appreciate you being here. And yes, thank you, Stevie.
All right. So nice to meet you.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please, please, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shay J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways, or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength, and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.